Thanks so much for coming to this closing performance of The Importance of Being Earnest. This marks the beginning of our 7th season of existence, so yay! A couple of brief announcements. One, I have been instructed to tell you that if I see or hear phones going off or lighting up your screens, the cast will judge you a lot. They'll stare at you and make direct eye contact, so please make sure those are silenced and off. A couple of brief thanks to Deb Nice and Misha Almond, the entire cast and crew, Create Wanakee and the advisory board, Peace Lutheran, and everybody who donated to the silent auction. There will be a bake sale at intermission, and if you open your program to the middle, you'll see a QR code where you can find everything in our silent auction. It runs through tomorrow. Prizes include, but are not limited to, American Players Theater tickets, Madison Mallards and Night Hares tickets, and a very exclusive Muffin of the Month Club that runs for 1 year, baked by my mother. She's around, if you see her, she's got purple hair. So very exclusive prizes to be found there. What else was I supposed to say? It's all gone out of my head now. The best way to support us if you like what we do is to talk about us, and the second best way to support us is to give us your money. You've already done step 2, thank you. If you would like to make a further contribution financially, there's buckets out in the lobby. It looks like a trick-or-treat bucket. We weren't kidding when we said we wanted your money. We got it from the dollar store. Thank you again for coming. And as I say at every show, if you like us, talk about us. And if you don't, just keep your mouth shut.
Did you hear what I was playing, Lane?
I didn't think it polite to listen, sir.
I'm sorry for that. For your sake. I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. But I play with wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I keep science for life.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of the science of life, have you got the cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, Lane, I see from your book that on Thursday night when Lord Shulman and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, 8 bottles of champagne were entered as having been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles of the pint.
Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment, the servants invariably drink the champagne? I ask merely for information.
Well, I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I've often observed that in married households, the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens! Is marriage so demoralizing as that?
I believe it is a very pleasant state, sir. I've had very little experience of it myself up to the present. I've only been married once. That was in consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I don't know that I am much interested in your family life, Lane.
No, sir. It's not a very interesting subject. I never think of it myself.
Very natural, I'm sure. That will do, Lane, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lane's views on marriage seem somewhat lax. Really, if the lower orders aren't going to set us a good example, what on earth is the use of them? They seem, as a class, to have no sense of moral responsibility.
Mr. Earnest Worthing.
How are you, my dear Earnest? What brings you up to town?
No, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, LG.
I believe it is customary in good society to have some slight refreshment around 5 o'clock. Where have you been since Thursday?
In the country.
What on earth do you do there?
When one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. It is excessively boring.
And who are the people you amuse?
Neighbours.
Got nice neighbours in your part of Shropshire.
Perfectly horrid. Never speak to one of them.
How immensely you must amuse them. By the way, Shropshire is your county, is it not?
Shropshire? Yes, of course. Hello. Why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who is coming to tea?
Merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn.
How perfectly delightful!
Yes, that is all very well, but I am afraid that Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
Yes, why?
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It is almost as bad as the way Gwendolyn flirts with you.
I am in love with Gwendolyn. I come to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you had come up for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic you are.
I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. It is very romantic to be in love, but there is nothing romantic about a definite proposal. Why, one may be accepted, one usually is, I believe. Then the excitement is all over. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. If ever I get married, I'll certainly try to forget the fact.
I have no doubt about that, dear LG. The divorce court was specially invented for people whose memories are so curiously constituted.
Oh, there is no use speculating on the subject. Divorces are made in heaven. Please don't touch the cucumber sandwiches. I ordered them specially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you have been eating them all the time.
That is quite a different matter. She's my aunt. Have some bread and butter. The bread and butter is for Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is devoted to bread and butter.
And perfectly good bread and butter it is too.
My dear fellow, you need not eat it as if you're going to eat it all. You act as if you are married to her already. You are not married to her already, and I don't think you ever will be.
Why on earth do you say that?
Well, in the first place, girls never marry the men they flirt with. Girls don't think it right.
That is nonsense.
It isn't. It is a great truth. It accounts for the extraordinary number of bachelors one sees all over the place. In the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin, and if I'm going to allow you to marry her, you will first have to clear the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean? What do you mean, Auntie, by Cecily? I don't know anyone of the name of Cecily.
Bring me the cigarette case Mr. Worthing left in the smoking room last time he dined here.
Yes, sir.
Do you mean to say you had my cigarette case all this time? Goodness would let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
Well, I wish you would offer one. I happen to be more than usually hard up.
Oh, there is no good offering a large reward now that the thing is found.
Well, that's rather mean of you, Earnest, I must say. However, it makes no matter, for when I read the inscription inside, I find that the thing isn't yours after all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen me with it 100 times. That you have no right whatsoever to read what is written inside. It is a very ungentlemanly thing to read a private cigarette case.
Oh, it is absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should read and what one shouldn't. More than half of modern culture depends on what one shouldn't read.
I am quite aware of the fact, and I don't propose to discuss modern culture. It isn't the sort of thing one should talk of in private. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Yes, but this isn't your cigarette case. This cigarette case was a present from someone of the name of Cecily. And you said you didn't know anyone of that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old lady she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells. Just give it back to me, LG.
But why does she call herself Little Cecily if she's your aunt who lives at Tunbridge Wells? From Little Cecily with her fondest love.
My dear fellow, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That is a matter surely an aunt may be allowed to decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt. That is absurd. For heaven's sake, give me back my cigarette case!
But why does your aunt call you her uncle? From Little Cecily with her fondest love to her dear Uncle Jack. There is no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt, but why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, should call her own nephew her uncle? I can't quite make out. Besides, your name isn't Jack at all, it is Earnest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
You have always told me it was Earnest. I have introduced you to everyone as Earnest. You answer to the name of Earnest. You look as if your name were Earnest. You are the most earnest-looking person I ever saw in my life. It is perfectly absurd you're saying your name isn't Earnest. It's on your cards. Here is one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, before the Albany. I shall keep this as proof that your name is Earnest if ever you attempt to deny it to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest in town, and Jack in the country, and the cigarette case was given to me in the country.
Yes, but that does not account for the fact that your small Aunt Cecily, who lives at Tunbridge Wells, calls you her uncle. Come, old boy, you'd much better have the thing out at once.
My dear LG, you talk exactly as if you were a dentist. It is very vulgar to talk like a dentist when one isn't a dentist. It produces a false impression.
Well, that is exactly what dentists always do. Now, go on, tell me the whole thing. I may mention I have always suspected you of being a confirmed and secret Bunburyist, and I am quite sure of it now.
Oh, Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by a Bunburyist?
I will reveal to you the meaning of that incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Earnest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce my cigarette case first.
Here it is. Now, produce your explanation, and pray, make it improbable.
My dear fellow, there is nothing improbable about my explanation at all. In fact, it's perfectly ordinary. The old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle for motives of respect that you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is that place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You are not going to be invited. I may tell you candidly that the place is not in Shropshire.
I suspected that, my dear fellow. I have Bunburied all over Shropshire on 2 separate occasions. Now, go on. Why are you Earnest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear LG, I don't know whether you will be able to understand my real motives. You are hardly serious enough. When one is placed in the position of guardian, one has to adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. It is one's duty to do so. And as a high moral tone can hardly be said to conduce very much to either one's health or one's happiness. In order to get up to town, I've always pretended to have a younger brother of the name of Earnest, who lives in the Albany and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear LG, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Modern life would be rather tedious if it were either. Modern literature, complete impossibility.
That wouldn't be at all a bad thing.
Literary criticism is not your forte, my dear fellow. Don't try it. You had much better leave that to the people who haven't been to university. They do it so well in the daily papers. What you really are is a Bunburyist, and I was quite right in saying you were a Bunburyist. You are one of the most advanced Bunburyists I know.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a very useful younger brother called Earnest, in order that you may go up to town whenever you like. I have invented an invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury, in order that I may go down into the country whenever I choose. Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. If it weren't for Bunbury's extraordinary bad health, for instance, I would not be able to dine with you tonight at Willis's, for I have really been engaged to Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
I haven't asked you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
I know. You are absurdly careless for sending invitations. It is very foolish of you. Nothing annoys people more than not receiving invitations.
You had much better dine with your Aunt Augusta.
I haven't the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. To begin with, I dined there on Monday, and once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relations. In the second place, whenever I do dine there, I am always treated as a member of the family and sent down with either no woman at all or two. In the third place, I know perfectly well whom she is going to place me next to tonight. She is going to place me next to Mary Farquhar, who always flirts with her own husband across the dinner table. That is not very pleasant. Indeed, it is not even decent. And that sort of thing is enormously on the increase. The amount of women in London who flirt with their own husbands is perfectly scandalous. It looks so bad. It is simply washing one's clean linen in public. Besides, now that I know you to be a confirmed Bunburyist, I naturally want to talk to you about it. I want to tell you the rules.
I am not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolen accepts me, I am going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Cecily is a little too much interested in him. It is rather a bore. So, I'm going to get rid of Earnest, and I strongly advise you to do the same with your invalid friend, who's the absurd name.
Nothing could induce me to part with Bunbury, and if you are to be getting married, which to me seems extremely problematic, you will be very glad to know Bunbury. A man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time with it.
Oh, that is nonsense. If I marry a charming girl like Gwendolen, and she's the only girl I ever saw in my life that I would marry, I certainly won't want to know Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize that in married life, 3 is company, but 2 is none.
My dear young friend, that is the theory that the corrupt French drama has been propounding for the last 50 years.
Yes, and that the happy English home has proved it off the time.
For heaven's sake, don't try to be cynical. It's perfectly easy to be cynical.
My dear fellow, it isn't easy to be anything nowadays. There's such a lot of beastly competition about. That must be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives or creditors ever ring in that Wagnerian manner. Now, if I get out of the way for 10 minutes so that you may have an opportunity to propose to Gwendolen, may I dine with you tonight at Willis's?
Well, I suppose so, if you want to.
Yes, but you must be serious about it. I hate it when people aren't serious about meals. It's so shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, Algernon. I hope you're behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Aunt Augusta.
Well, that's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I am always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I am not that. It will need no room for development, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry if we are a little late, Algernon. I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't been there since her poor husband's death. I never saw a woman so altered. She looked quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a cup of tea and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Don't you come sit here, Gwendolyn?
Thank you, Mama. I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens! Lane! Why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially.
No cucumbers in the market this morning, sir. I went down twice.
No cucumbers.
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
That will do, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I am greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumbers, not even for ready money.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I had crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now.
I hear her hair has turned quite gold from grief.
Oh, it certainly has changed its colour. From what cause I, of course, cannot say. No, thank you. I have quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She's such a nice woman and so attentive to her husband. It's delightful to watch them.
I am afraid, Aunt Augusta, that I will have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
Hope not, Algernon. But put my table completely out. Your uncle will have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great bore, and I need hardly say a terrible disappointment, but the fact is, I have just had a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again. They think I should be with him.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I think it was high time, Algernon, that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or die. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd. Nor do I in any way approve of this modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I'm always telling that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice, at least as far as any improvement to his ailments goes. I would be much obliged, Algernon, if you would ask Mr. Bunbury for me not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and I want something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season, when everyone has practically said whatever they are going to say, which in most cases was probably not much.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious. And I think I can promise you he'll be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great difficulty. You see, if one plays good music, people don't listen. But if one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I'll run over the program I've drawn up. You will kindly follow me into the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It is so thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be delightful after a few expurgations. French music I cannot possibly allow. People always seem to think it improper, so look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. But French sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and I do believe it is so. Gwendolyn, you will accompany me?
Certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray, Mr. Worthing, don't talk to me about the weather. Whenever someone talks to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain they mean something else, and that always makes me very nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I am never wrong.
And I would like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mama has this habit of suddenly coming back into a room that I've often had to speak with her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met since I met you.
I am quite well aware of the fact, and in public at any rate, I've always wished you'd been a bit more demonstrative. You've always had this irresistible fascination to you, Mr. Worthing. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. This fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines and has reached the provincial pulpits, I am told. And my ideal has always been to love a man of the name of Earnest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me, a friend of the name of Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolyn?
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Ernest.
But you don't really mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Earnest.
But your name is Ernest.
Yes, of course it is. But supposing it was. Do you mean to say you couldn't love me then?
This is clearly a metaphysical speculation, and like most metaphysical speculations, has very little reference to the actual facts of real life as we know them.
Personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't much care about the name of Earnest. I don't think the name suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It's a divine name. It has music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, Gwendolyn, I must say, I think there are lots of other much nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack. No, there is very little music in the name Jack, if any at all. No, it does not thrill. It produces no vibrations. I have known several Jacks. In all of them, without exception, the most usually plain. Besides, Jack is a notorious domesticity for John, and I think any woman who is married to a man called John. I doubt she's ever allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. Truly, the only safe name is Earnest.
Gwendolyn, I must get christened at once. I mean, we must get married at once. There's no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, surely, you know that I love you, and you led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you were not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing at all has been said about marriage. The subject hasn't even been touched upon.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I think it an admirable opportunity, and to spare any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it's only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand. I am fully determined to accept you.
Gwendolyn!
Yes, Mr. Worthing. What have you got to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you?
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolyn, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. How long have you been about it? I feel you have very little experience in how to propose.
My own one. I've never loved anyone in the world but you.
Yes, and men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Earnest. They're quite blue. I hope you will always look at me just like that. Especially when other people are present.
Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Mama, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing was not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
I beg your pardon. You are engaged to no one. When you do become engaged, I or your father will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come upon a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. It is hardly a matter she can be allowed to arrange for herself. And now I have a few questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing. While I am making these inquiries, Gwendolyn, you will wait for me below in the carriage.
Mama.
In the carriage, Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn, the carriage.
Yes, Mama.
You, Mr. Worthing, can take a seat.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to inform you that your name is not on my list of eligible young men. Although I have the same list that the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I'm quite prepared to enter your name should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm very glad to hear it. A man should have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
Oh, a very good age to be married at. I have long held the opinion that a man who desires to be married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm very pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would pose a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
In investments, chiefly.
Oh, that is satisfactory. What between the duties expected of one during one's lifetime and the duties expected of one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position, but prevents one from keeping it up. And that is all that can be said about land.
I had a house in the country with some land, of course, attached to it, about 1,500 acres. But I don't depend on that for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only people who make anything out of it.
Country house? How many bedrooms? Well, that's a point that can be cleared up afterward. You do have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn can hardly be expected to reside in the country.
Well, I have a house at Belgrave Square, but it is let by the year to Lady Bloxham. Of course, I can get it back whenever I like, at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham? I don't know her.
Oh, well, she goes about very little. She's a lady considerably advanced in years.
Yeah. Well, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
Ah, the unfashionable side. I thought there was something. Oh, well, that can easily be altered.
Do you mean the fashion or the sign?
Both, if necessary. What are your politics?
Well, I'm afraid I really have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They dine with us, or come out in the evening, anyway. Now, to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father? Evidently he was a man of some wealth. Was he born in what the radical papers call the purple of commerce, or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I had lost my parents. It would be near the truth to say that my parents seem to have lost me. I don't actually know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of a very charitable and kindly disposition, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
Where did the charitable gentleman who had the first-class ticket for this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
Handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large brown leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what particular locality did Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom? At Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate, bred in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life, and reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, A cloakroom in a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably indeed been used for that purpose before now, but could hardly be considered an assured basis for an assured position in good society.
May I ask you then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and find some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to find, at any rate, one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce a handbag at any moment. It is in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You cannot possibly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would ever dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl raised with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a castle? Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning.
Did go off all right, old boy. You don't mean to say Gwendolyn refused you? I know it is a way she has. She is always refusing people. I think it is very ill-natured of her.
Gwendolyn is as right as a trivet. As far as she is concerned, we're engaged. Her mother is perfectly unbearable. Never met such a gorgon. I don't really know what gorgon is like, but I'm quite certain that Lady Bracknell is one. In any case, she is a monster without being a myth, which is rather unfair. I beg your pardon, LG. I suppose I shouldn't talk about your own aunt in this way before you.
My dear boy, I love hearing my relations abused. It is the only thing that makes me put up with them at all. Relations are simply a tedious pack of people who haven't got the remotest knowledge of how to live, nor the smallest instinct of when to die.
Oh, that is nonsense.
It isn't.
Well, I'm not going to argue about the matter. You always want to argue about things.
That is exactly what things were originally made for.
Upon my word, if I thought that, I'd shoot myself. You don't think there's any chance of Gwendolyn becoming like her mother in about 150 years, do you, Elgin?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That is his.
Is that clever?
It is perfectly phrased, and as quite as true as any observation in civilized life should be.
I am sick to death of cleverness. Everybody is clever nowadays. You can't go anywhere without meeting clever people. The thing has become an absolute public nuisance. I wish to goodness we had a few fools left.
We have.
I should extremely like to meet them. What do they talk about?
The fools? Oh, about the clever people, of course.
What fools?
By the way, haven't told Gwendolyn the truth yet about your being Earnest in town and Jack in the country.
My dear fellow, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined girl. What extraordinary ideas you have about the way to behave to a woman.
The only way to behave to a woman is to make love to her, if she is pretty, and to someone else if she is plain.
Oh, that is nonsense.
What about your brother? What about the profligate Earnest?
No, before the end of the week, I shall have got rid of him. They'll say he died in Paris of apoplexy. Lots of people die of apoplexy. It might suddenly, don't they?
Yes, but it's hereditary, my dear fellow. It's a sort of thing that runs in families. You had much better say a severe chill.
You're quite sure the severe chill is hereditary or anything of that kind?
Of course it isn't.
Very well then. My poor brother Ernest is carried off suddenly in Paris of a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
But I thought you said that Miss Cardew was a little too much interested in your poor brother Earnest. She feel his loss a good deal.
Oh, that is all right. Cecily is not a silly, romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She has a capital appetite, goes long walks, and pays no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cecily.
I will take very good care that you never do. She is excessively pretty, and she's only just 18.
Have you told Gwendolyn yet that you have an excessively pretty ward who's only just 18?
One doesn't blurt these things out to people. Gwendolyn and Cecily are perfectly certain to be extremely great friends. I bet you anything you like. Half an hour after they met, they will be calling each other sister.
Women only do that after they have called each other a lot of other things first. Now, my dear boy, if we are going to get a good table at Willis's, we really must go and dress. You know, it's nearly 7.
No, it always is merely 7.
Well, I'm hungry.
I never knew you when you weren't.
What shall we do after dinner? Go to a theater?
Oh no, I know listening.
Yeah. Well, let us go to the club.
Oh no, I hate talking.
Well, we might trot round to the Empire at 10.
Oh no, I can't bear looking at things. It is so silly.
Well, what shall we do?
Nothing.
It is awfully hard work doing nothing. However, I don't mind hard work when there's no definite object of any kind. Miss Fairfax. Gwendolyn, upon my word.
Algie, kindly turn your back. I have something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
Really, Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this after all.
Algie, you've always kept a strictly moral attitude towards life. I don't think you're quite old enough to do that.
My own darling.
Ernest, we may never be married. From the look on Mama's face, I fear you never shall. You can't pay any regard to what the children say to them anymore. The old-fashioned respect for the young is dying and fast. Whatever influence I had over Mama, I lost at the age of 3. Though she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else, and very often, nothing she can possibly do to alter my eternal devotion to you.
Dear Gwendolyn.
Your romantic origin, as related to you by Mama with unpleasing comments, has naturally stirred the deeper fibers of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination to it. The simplicity of the character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. The town address of the Albany I have. What is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
There is good postal service, I suppose. It may be necessary to do something desperate. That, of course, would take serious I will communicate with you daily.
My own one.
How long have you been in town?
Till Monday.
Good. Algie, you may turn round now.
Thanks, I've turned around already.
You may also ring the bell.
You will let me see you to your carriage, my own darling. I will see Miss Fairfax out.
Yes, sir.
A glass of sherry, Lane.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, Lane, I'm going Bunbury.
Yes, sir.
I shall probably not be back till Monday. You can put up my dress clothes, my smoking jacket, and all the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir.
I hope tomorrow will be a fine day, Lane.
Never is, sir.
Lane, you're a perfect pessimist.
Do my best to give satisfaction, sir.
There's a sensible, intellectual girl. The only girl I ever cared for in my life. What on earth are you so amused at?
No, I'm a little anxious about poor Bunbury, that is all.
If you don't take care, your friend Bunbury is going to get you into a serious scrape someday.
I love scrapes. They're the only thing that is never serious.
Oh, that is nonsense, LG. You never talk anything but nonsense.
Nobody ever does.
utilitarian occupation as the watering of flowers is rather Malton's duty than yours? Especially to those intellectual pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray, open to page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson.
But I don't like German.
Child,
It isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well that I look quite plain after my German lesson.
child, you know how anxious your guardian is that you should improve yourself in every way. He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. Indeed, he always lays stress on your German when he's leaving for town.
Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he is so serious I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanor is to be especially commended in one so comparatively young as he is. I know no one with a high sense of duty and responsibility.
I suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I am surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. Idle merriment and triviality would be out of place in this conversation. You must remember his constant anxiety about that unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man and his brother to come down here sometime. We might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I am sure you certainly would. You know, German and geology and things of that kind influence a man very much.
I do not think even I could produce any effect on a character that by his own brother's admission is irretrievably weak and vacillating. Indeed, I do not know that I would desire to reclaim him. I'm not in favor of this modern mania for turning bad people into good people at a moment's notice. As a man sows, so let him reap. You must put away your diary, Cecily. I don't see why you should keep the diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter all the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary that we all carry about with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles things that have never happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels that Moody sends us.
Do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel. I wrote one myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are! I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was your novel ever published?
Alas, no. The manuscript, unfortunately, was abandoned. I use that word in terms of lost or mislaid. To your work, child, with speculations on profitness.
But I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden.
Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure.
And how are we this morning? Miss Prism, you are, I trust, well?
Oh, Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Cecily, I have not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, dear Miss Prism, I know that, but I felt instinctively that you had a headache. Indeed, I was thinking about that and not about my German lesson when the rector came in.
I hope, Cecily, you are not inattentive.
I'm afraid I am.
It is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her lips. Oh, I spoke metaphorically. My metaphor was drawn from bees. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has not returned from town yet.
We do not expect him until Monday afternoon.
Yes, usually likes to spend his Sunday in London. He's not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment, as by all accounts that unfortunate young man, his brother, seems to be. But I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer.
Egeria, my name is Letizia, Doctor.
A classical allusion, really, drawn from pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evensong.
I think, dear Doctor, I will take a stroll with you. I find I do have a headache after all, and a walk might do it some good.
Pleasure, Miss Prism, with pleasure. We might go as far as the schools and back.
Oh, that would be delightful. Cecily, you will read your political economy in my absence. The chapter on the fall of the rupee you may omit. It is somewhat too sensational. Even these metallic problems have the melodramatic side.
Ugh, the horrid political economy, the horrid geography, the horrid German.
Mr. Earnest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He's brought his luggage with him.
Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4 the Albany W. Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing is in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here. I suppose you're going to talk to the housekeeper about a room for him?
Yes, miss.
I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he will look just like everyone else. He does.
You are my little cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
You are under some strange mistake. I am not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily. And you, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest.
Oh, I am not really wicked at all, cousin Cecily. You mustn't think that I am wicked.
If you are not, then you have certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Oh. Of course, I have been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
In fact, now you mention the subject, I have been very bad in my own small way.
I don't think you should be so proud of that. So I'm sure it must be very pleasant.
It is much pleasanter being here with you.
I can't understand how you're here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon.
That is a great disappointment. I am obliged to go by the first train on Monday morning. I have a business appointment in London that I am anxious to miss.
Couldn't you miss it anywhere but in London?
No, the appointment is in London.
Well, I know, of course, how important it is not to keep a business engagement if anyone wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life, but still I really better wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to speak to you about your emigrating.
About my what?
You're emigrating. He has gone up to buy your outfit.
I certainly wouldn't let Jack buy my outfits. He has no taste in neckties at all.
I don't think he'll require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you'd have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
Oh, well, the accounts I have received of Australia and the next world are not particularly encouraging. This world is good enough for me, cousin Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
I'm afraid I am not that. That is why I want you to reform me. You might make it your mission, if you don't mind, cousin Cecily.
I'm afraid I've no time this afternoon.
Well, would you mind my reforming myself this afternoon?
It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
I will. I feel better already.
You are looking a little worse.
That is because I am hungry.
How thoughtless of me! I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in?
Thank you. Might I have a buttonhole first? I never have an appetite unless I have a buttonhole first.
Mère Charmiel?
No, I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like a pink rose, cousin Cecily.
I don't think it could be right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
Then Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
They are a snare that every sensible man would like to be caught in.
Oh, I don't think I would care to catch a sensible man. I should know what to talk to him about.
No, dear Dr. Chasuble, you should get married. Miss Thorpe, I can understand. A woman will never.
Believe me, I do not deserve so eulogistic a phrase. The precept as well as the practice of the primitive church was distinctly against matrimony.
That is obviously why the primitive church has not lasted until the present day. And you do not seem to realize, dear doctor, but that by persistently remaining single, a man converts himself into a permanent public temptation. Men should be more careful. This very celibacy leads weaker vessels astray.
So men are deeply attractive when married.
No married man is ever attractive except to his wife.
Often I've been told not even to her.
That depends on the intellectual sympathies of the woman. Maturity can be depended on. Ripeness can be trusted. Young women are green.
I say, Miss Prison.
Culturally, my metaphor was drawn from the fruits. Where's Cecily?
Perhaps she followed us to the schools.
Mr. Worthing!
Mr. Worthing?
This is indeed a surprise. We did not expect you until Monday afternoon.
I returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chasuble, I hope you are well.
Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother,
More shameful debts and extravagance.
Still leading his life with pleasure.
dead,
Your brother Earnest, dead.
quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he'll profit by it.
Mr. Worthing, I offer you my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing you are always the most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with them at the end?
No, he died abroad, in Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
Was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill.
As man sows, so shall he reap.
Dear Miss Prison, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am peculiarly susceptible to drafts. Will the interment take place here?
No, he seemed to have expressed a desire to be buried in Paris.
Why, Paris? Fear that hardly points to any very serious state of mind at the last. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. My sermon on the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful, or as in the present case, distressing. I have preached it at harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmations, on days of humiliation and festal days. The last time I delivered it was in the cathedral as a charity sermon on behalf of the Society for the Prevention of Discontent among the upper orders. The bishop, who was present, was much struck by some of the analogies I drew.
Ah, that reminds me. You mentioned Christians, I think, Dr. Chasuble. I suppose you know how to christen, all right? I mean, you're continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most constant duties in this parish. I have often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they don't seem to know what thrift is.
But is there any particular infant in whom you were interested, Mr. Worthing? Your brother was, I believe, unmarried, was he not?
Oh, yes.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
But it is not for any child, dear doctor. I'm very fond of children. No, the fact is, I would like to be christened myself this afternoon, if you have nothing better to do.
But surely, Mr. Worthing, you have been christened already.
I don't remember anything about it.
Have you grave doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. Of course, I don't know if it will bother you in any way, or if you think I'm a little too old now.
Oh, not at all. In fact, the sprinkling and indeed immersion of adults is a perfectly canonical practice.
Immersion.
Well, you need have no apprehension. Sprinkling is all that is necessary, or indeed, I think, advisable. Our weather is so changeable. At what hour would you wish the ceremony performed?
Well, I might pop round about 5, if that would suit you.
Oh, perfectly, perfectly. In fact, I have two similar ceremonies to perform at that time. A case of twins that occurred recently on one of the outlying cottages on your own estate. Poor Jenkins the carter, most hard-working man.
No, I don't see much fun in being christened along with other babies. It would be childish. Would have passed by you.
Well, admirably, admirably. And now, dear Mr. Worthing, I will not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I would merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us bitter trials are often blessings in disguise.
This seems to me a blessing of an extremely obvious kind. Uncle Jack! Oh, I am pleased to see you back.
What horrid clothes have you got on? Do go and change them.
Cecily!
My child, my child!
What is the matter, Uncle Jack? Do look happy. You look as if you had toothache, and I've got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who?
Your brother, Ernest. He arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense! I haven't got a brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he may behave to you in the past, he is still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless as to disown him. I'll tell him to come out, and you will shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack?
These are very joyful tidings.
After we had all been resigned to his loss, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly distressing.
My brother is in the dining room. I don't know what it all means. I think it is perfectly absurd. Good heavens!
Brother John, I have come down from town to tell you that I'm very sorry for the trouble I've given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you were not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury. He goes to visit so often. And surely there must be much good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain.
Oh, he has been talking about Bunbury, has he?
Yes, he has told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Bunbury, well, I won't have him talk to you about Bunbury or about anything else. It is enough to drive one perfectly frantic.
Of course, I admit that the faults were all on my side, but I must say that I think that Brother John's coldness to me is peculiarly painful. I expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it is the first time I have come here.
Uncle Jack, if you do not shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never.
Well, it is the last time I shall ever do it.
Oh, it's pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation? I think we might leave the two brothers together.
Cecily, you will come with us.
Certainly, Miss Prism, my little task of reconciliation is over.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
I feel very happy.
You young scoundrel, LG, you have got to get out of this place as soon as possible. I don't allow any Bunbury here.
I put Mr. Earnest's things in the room next to yours, sir. I suppose that is all right.
What?
Mr. Earnest's luggage, sir. I have unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I am afraid I can't stay more than a week this time.
Marrinan, order the dog cart at once. Mr. Earnest has been suddenly called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful liar you are, Jack. I haven't been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
I haven't heard anyone call me.
Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasures in the smallest degree.
I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to talk of Miss Carvey like that. I don't like it.
Well, I don't like your clothes. You look perfectly ridiculous. Why on earth don't you go up and change? It is perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who is actually staying for a whole week with you in your house as a guest. I call it grotesque.
You are certainly not staying with me for a whole week as a guest or anything else. You have got to leave by the 4:05 train.
I certainly won't leave you so long as you're in mourning. It would be most unfriendly. If I were in mourning, you would stay with me, I suppose. I should think it very unkind if you didn't.
Well, let me go if I change my clothes.
Yes, if you're not too long. I never saw anybody take so long to dress and with such little result.
Well, at any rate, that is better than being always overdressed as you are.
If I am a little overdressed, I make up for it by being always immensely overeducated.
Your vanity is ridiculous. Your conduct an outrage, and your presence in my garden utterly absurd. However, you've got to catch the 4-5, and I hope you'll have a pleasant journey back to town. This Bunbury, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
I think it has been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily, and that is everything. But I must see her before I go and make arrangements for another Bunbury.
Drive?
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I am afraid so. It's a very painful parting.
It is always painful to part from people whom one has known for a very brief space of time. The absence of old friends one can endure with equanimity, but even a momentary separation from anyone to whom one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Thank you.
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
It can wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes.
Yes, miss.
I hope, Cecily, I shall not offend you if I state quite frankly and openly that you seem to me to be, in every way, the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to look at it, may I?
Oh, no. You see, it is simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I hope you'll order a copy. But, pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I have reached absolute perfection. You can go on, I'm quite ready for more. Oh, don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me that you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily,
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
tell it to come round next week at the same hour.
Sir.
Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if he knew you were staying on until next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care about anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy. Of course. Why, we've been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months?
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. One feels there must be something in him after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Darling, and when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last, worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or the other, and after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree here. The next day, I got this little ring in your name, and this is the little bangle with the true lover's knot that I promised you always to wear.
Did I give you this? It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you've wonderfully good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given for your leading such a bad life. And this is the box in which I keep all your dear letters.
My letters! But, my own sweet Cecily, I have never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote always 3 times a week and sometimes oftener.
Oh, do let me read them, Cecily.
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I'd broken off our engagement are so beautiful and so badly spelled that even now I can hardly read them without crying a little.
But was our engagement ever broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you like. Today I broke off my engagement with Earnest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
But why on earth did you break it off? What had I done? I had done nothing at all. Cecily, I am very much hurt indeed to hear that you broke it off, particularly when the weather was so charming.
It would hardly have been a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. But I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
You dear romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally, doesn't it?
Yes, darling, with a little help from others.
I'm so glad.
You'll never break off our engagement again, Cecily.
I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You must not laugh at me, darling, but it had always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Earnest. There is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Earnest.
But, my dear child, do you mean to say that you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Oh, any name that you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name of Algernon.
Well, my own dear, sweet, loving little darling, I really don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. It is not at all a bad name. In fact, it is rather an aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court called Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, if my name was Algie, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear I should not be able to give you your undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in the practice of all the rites and ceremonials of the church.
Oh, yes, Dr. Chasuble is a very learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I must see him at once on a most important a most important business.
Oh.
I shan't be away more than half an hour.
But considering that we have been engaged since February the 14th, and I only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal into my diary.
Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax states.
Isn't Mr. Worthing in his library?
Mr. Worthing went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Pray, ask the lady to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon, and you can bring tea.
Yes, Miss.
Miss Fairfax. I suppose one of the many good elderly women who are associated with Uncle Jack and some of his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it is so forward of them.
Miss Fairfax.
Pray, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew, what a very sweet name. I have a feeling we are going to make great friends. I'm going to keep more than I can already say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we have known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this might be the favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You've never heard of I suppose.
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I am glad to say, is entirely unknown. This is as I think it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man. And certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? I do not like that. This makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mama, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short short-sighted. It is part of her system. So, do you mind looking at you through my glasses?
Oh, not at all, Gwendolyn. I am very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose.
Oh, no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some other female relative of advanced years resides here also.
Oh, no, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
Yes, my dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
He never mentioned to me he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I have liked you ever since I met you. However, I cannot say this news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. I am bound to state, now that I am aware you are Mr. Worthing's ward, that I cannot help but expressing a wish that you were quite a bit older than you appear to be, and not so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly,
Pray do. I think that whenever anyone has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor. Disloyalty would be impossible to him as deception, but even the men of the highest possible noble moral character are easily susceptible to the influence of physical charm. Modern, no less than ancient history shows us multiple of the most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, then history itself would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
He never mentioned to me he had a brother.
I am sorry to say they've not been on good terms for quite a long time.
That accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I've never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems almost distasteful to most men. Cecily, you've lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any crowd had come across a friendship like ours, wouldn't it? Of course, you are quite sure it is not Mr. Earnest Worthing who is your guardian.
Quite sure. In fact, I am going to be his.
I beg your pardon.
Dearest Gwendolyn, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspapers showed a chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I feel there's been some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. It will appear in the Morning Post at Saturday at the latest.
I am afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
That is very curious. Mr. Ernest Worthing asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One must always have something sensational to read on the train, does one not? I am so sorry if it's any disappointment to you, dear Cecily, but I am afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolyn, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish, but I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
If my poor fellow has found himself in any foolish promises, I find it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have got into, I will never approach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. At occasions such as this one, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? Now is not the time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say I have never seen a spade. It's become quite obvious our social circles are very different.
Shall I wait here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual. Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardy?
Oh, yes, a great many. From the top of one of the hills quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? I would not like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town?
Quite a well-kept garden, Miss Cardy.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I didn't know there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London.
I don't know how anybody exists in the country, if anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It is almost an epidemic amongst them, I have been told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Yes, thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays.
Hand that to Miss Fairfax.
You have put lumps of sugar in my tea, and even though I most distinctly asked for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt you vulgar and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are very right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt there are many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Oh, Ernest, my own Ernest.
Dear Gwendolyn,
A moment. Can you tell me if you are engaged to be married to this young lady?
to dear little Cecily? Of course not. What could have put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arms are present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack. Jack! Here is Ernest.
My own love.
A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
To what young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolyn!
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I felt there's been some slight error, Miss Cardew. The man who is currently embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief! Oh! Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. However, my name certainly is John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
Oh, my poor Cecily. You will call me sister, will you not?
There is just one thing I'd like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to put by you. Where is your brother, Earnest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother, Earnest. So it is some great importance to us
Cecily, it is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I have ever been reduced to such a painful position. I'm really quite inexperienced in doing anything of the kind. However, to tell you frankly, I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I never had a brother, and I certainly have not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
You never brother of any kind?
Never, not even of any kind.
Cecily, it's become quite clear that neither of us are engaged to be married to anyone.
It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl suddenly to find herself in, is it?
Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of things is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, and a perfectly wonderful Bunbury it is. The most wonderful Bunbury I have ever had in my life.
Well, you have no right whatsoever to bunbury here.
That is absurd. One has a right to Bunbury anywhere one chooses. Every serious Bunburyist knows that.
Serious bunburies? Good heavens!
Well, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusement in life. I happen to be serious about Bunbury. What on earth you are serious about? I haven't got the remotest idea about everything I should fancy. You have an absolutely trivial nature.
Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to run down the country quite so often as you used to, dear LJ, and a very good thing too.
Your brother is a little off-color, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was, and not a bad thing either.
As for your conduct towards Miss Cardew, I must say your taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that is quite inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she is my ward.
I can see no possible defense at all for your deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax, to say nothing of the fact that she is my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolyn, that is all. I love her.
Well, I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her.
There is certainly no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew.
I don't think there's much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax being united.
Well, that is no business of yours.
If it was my business, I wouldn't talk about it. It is very vulgar to talk about one's business. Only people like stockbrokers do that. And then do that at dinner parties.
How can you sit there, calmly eating muffins, while we are in this horrible trouble I can't make out? You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One should always eat muffins quite calmly. It is the only way to eat them.
I say it's perfectly heartless you're eating muffins at all under the circumstances.
When I am in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I am in really great trouble, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything except food and drink. At the present moment, I'm eating muffins because I am unhappy. Besides, I am particularly fond of muffins.
Well, that is no reason why you should eat them all in that easy way.
I wish you would have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake.
Good heavens, I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden.
But you have just said it was perfectly heartless to eat muffins.
I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is a very different thing.
That may be, but the muffins are the same.
Algy, I wish to goodness you would go.
You can't possibly ask me to go without having some dinner. It's absurd. I never go without my dinner. No one ever does, except vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I have just made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:45 under the name of Earnest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chasuble to be christened myself at 5:30, and I will naturally take the name of Earnest. Gwendolyn would wish it. We can't both be christened, Ernest. It's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There is no evidence at all that I was ever christened by anybody. I should think it extremely probable I never was, and so does Dr. Chasuble. It is entirely different in your case. You have been christened already.
Yes, but I have not been christened for years.
Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing.
Quite so. So my constitution can stand it. If you're not quite sure to ever having been christened, I must say, I think it's rather dangerous you're venturing on it now. It might make you very unwell. You can hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected with you was very nearly carried off this week in Paris by a severe chill.
Yes, but you said yourself the severe chill was not hereditary.
It used to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science is always making wonderful improvements in things.
No, that is nonsense. You are always talking nonsense.
Jack, you're at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't. There are only 2 left. I told you I'm particularly fond of muffins.
But I hate tea cake.
Why on earth then do you allow tea cake to be served up for your guests? What ideas you have of hospitality?
Get along. I have already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go?
I haven't quite finished my tea yet. And there is still 1 muffin left. It's mine.
No!
The fact they did not follow us at once into the house as anyone else would have done in this situation seems to me to show they have some sense of shame left.
They've been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Could you cough?
But I haven't got a cough.
Oh, they are looking at us with effrontery.
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly. It is the only thing to do now.
A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
A pretty girl is like a melody that haunts you night and day. Just like the strain of a haunting refrain, she'll start upon a marathon and run around your brain. You can't escape. She's in your memory by morning, night, and noon. She will leave you and then come back again. A pretty girl is just like a pretty tune. A pretty girl's like a melody that haunts you night and day. Just like the strain of a haunting refrain, she'll start upon a marathon and run around your brain.
You can't escape. She's in your memory by morning, night, and noon.
She will leave you and then come back again. A pretty girl is just like a pretty tune.
Dignified silence has produced an unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But we shall not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask of you. Much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Yes, dear, if you believe him.
I don't. But it does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True. In the matters of great importance, silence, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order for you to have the opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
Oh, I have the gravest doubts upon the situation, but I intend to crush them. Now is not the time for German skepticism. their explanations appeared to be satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's, and they seem to me to have a stamp of truth upon them.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone seems to inspire one with absolute credulity.
So you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
Right, I'd forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. You should be the one to tell them. The task is not a pleasant one.
Could we not both speak at the same time?
An excellent idea. I almost always speak at the same time as other people. So take the time for me.
Certainly. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon.
Me who dared to do this terrible thing.
I am.
To please me, you're ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
How absurd talking equality of sexes. When it comes to self-sacrifice, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage, which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling.
Darling.
Good heavens!
Wait a minute. What does this mean?
It means I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I would never undeceive him on any question I would consider it wrong. But you will clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter will cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to be married to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
No, you are nothing of the kind, sir. Now, as regards Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
No. Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
No, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was Mr. Bunbury, was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I have no idea Mr. Bunbury was so interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean, he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That is what I mean. So, Bunbury died.
He seems to have had a great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. Now that we have finally got this Mr. Bunbury out of the way, may I ask Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me to be a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I don't know if there's anything peculiarly exciting in the air in this part of Herefordshire, but the number of engagements that goes on seems to me to be considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our parents. I think a preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of the question. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? Until yesterday, I had no idea there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Gervais Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporan, Fifeshire, NB.
That does not sound unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I carefully preserved the court guides of the period, Lady Bracknell. They are open to your inspection.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby. A firm of the very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and the English variety.
Life crowded with incident, I see. Though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl, I myself am not in favor of premature experiences. Oh, Quentin, the time approaches for our departure. We have to move to news. A moment, Mr. Worthing. Perhaps I should ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune?
No, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So, pleased to see you.
Mr. Worthing, £130,000, and in the funds too. Well, Miss Cardew seems to me to be a most attractive young lady. Now that I look at her, oh, so few young girls of our age have any really solid qualities that last, that improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of services. Come here, dear. Right here. Oh, pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems as though almost as if nature might have left it, but we can soon alter all of that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a really marvelous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her own husband did not know her.
And after 6 months, nobody knew her.
Kindly turn around, sweetheart. The side view is what I wanted. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The 2 weak points of our age are the want of principle and a want of profile. A chin a little higher, dear. Style largely depends on how the chin is worn. They are worn very high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world. I don't care 2 pence for social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. My dear, of course you know that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind, but I never dreamed for a moment of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may proceed.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
Oh, you may refer to me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
I think the marriage had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not in favor of long engagements. They give people opportunity to learn one another's characters before marriage, which I think is never advised.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
On what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I might almost say, an ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more could one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact is, I do not at all approve of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Algernon, my nephew? Oh, impossible. Oh, no, he is an Oxonian.
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London, on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I've just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Perrier Jouet Brut 89 wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is, he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind. I simply told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come here, sweetheart. How old are you, dear?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
You are perfectly right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, getting to 20 at dinner parties? Well, in no time you will be of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Pray forgive me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again, but it is only fair to tell you that, according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age until she is 35.
I don't see that as a grave objection. 35 is a most attractive age. London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point to my own knowledge. She has been 35 since she arrived at the age of 40, and that was many years ago now. I don't see how our dear Cecily should not be even still more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algie, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could.
Yes, I felt it instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting even to be married is quite out of the question.
Then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states that she positively cannot wait until she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to show a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will most happily allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
Surely you must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose it for himself. Come, Gwendolen, we've already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christenings? Sir, is that not somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? Algernon, I forbid you to baptized. I will not allow such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that is the way in which you waste your time and money.
To understand that there to be no christenings at all this afternoon.
I don't think that, as things are now, it would be of much practical use to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
Grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savor of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I'm on my way to join her.
Pray let me detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She's the most cultivated of ladies, the very picture of respectability.
She's obviously the same person. Pray, let me ask, what is her position in your household?
I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 3 years Miss Carden's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I've been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism. Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104 Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, through the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually repellent aspect. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I must admit with shame, I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mentioned, a day that is forever branded in my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I also had with me an especially old and yet capacious handbag in which I intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction I had written in my school and occupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, I placed the manuscript into the bassinet and put the baby into the handbag.
Yes, but where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Mr. Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
I must retire to my room for a moment. Gwendolyn, wait for me here.
If you are not too long, I will wait for you here all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not hardly suspect. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Guardian has a very emotional nature.
This noise is most unpleasant. It sounds as though he's having an argument. I dislike arguments of this kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing.
To stop now.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
Oh, the suspense is terrible. I hope you will last.
Miss Prism! Is this the handbag? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Ah, yes, here's the injury it received through the upsetting of a Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. And here on the lining is a stain caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred at Leamington. And here on the lock are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood, I had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly returned to me after all these years. It has been a great inconvenience to be without it.
Miss Prism, More is returned to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes. Mother!
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
Unmarried. I do not deny that is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there has been some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I am afraid that the news I have for you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Hell, Jesus, elder brother. Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted that I had a brother? Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother. LG, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life.
Well, not till today, I admit, old boy. I did my best, however, though I was out of practice.
My own one? But what own are you? What is your Christian name now you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose.
Oh, I never change, except in my affections.
What a noble age you have, Gwendolyn.
The question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury money could buy, including christening, had been lavished upon you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened. That is settled. Now, what name was I given?
Well, being the eldest born son, naturally you were christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
Well, I cannot at present moment recall what the general was called, but I have no doubt that he had a name. He was eccentric, but only in later years, and that was a result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that kind.
LG, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta.
Well, the general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but I have no doubt his name would appear in any military directory.
The army list of the last 40 years, I hear. These delightful records should have been my constant study. And generals, Malum, Max Baum, Magley, ghastly names I have. Mark B, Meigs B, Mobbs, Moncrief, Lieutenant 1870, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General 1881. Christian names, Earnest, John. I always told you, Gwendolyn, that my name was Earnest, didn't I? Well, it is Earnest after all. I mean, it naturally is Earnest.
Ah, yes. Now, I do recall that the general was called Earnest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking that name.
Ernest, my own Ernest. I knew from the first you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it is a very terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can. Oh, I feel you are sure to change.
My own one. Oh, it is
Frederick, at last!
Cecily, at last.
Gwendolyn, at last.
My nephew, it seems you are showing signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I now realize for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.